A curiously strong man defies gravity.
If you grew up in New Zealand in the 80s and 90s, there's a good chance a bag of Snifters lived somewhere in your memories. Slipped into the pocket of your school shorts, clutched in a mixed lolly bag, or bought at the cinema counter before a movie started. They weren't just candy, they were minty, chewy, chocolate-covered tokens of summer afternoons and big screen anticipation, snacks that sounded as good as they tasted. But today, the original Snifter is gone. Not gone in a dramatic collapse, not replaced by something better, just quietly discontinued and left behind, prompting generations of Kiwis to ask, what happened to Snifters? And why does something so beloved just stop? Snifters were part of a broader confectionery tradition in New Zealand. Distributed locally by Pascal, itself a long-standing Australasian candy maker now owned by global giant Mondelez International, Snifters combined a minty nougat centre with a chocolate coating and colourful shell. They weren't loud on advertising, but they were everywhere. Supermarket aisles, corner dairies, and most memorably, cinema kiosks, where that minty crunch punctuated hours of popcorn in anticipation. For decades, they were simply part of everyday life, a familiar treat that didn't need explaining. Then, in 2009, everything changed. Snifters were discontinued by Cadbury-owned Pascal, officially because of a lack of consumer demand. They weren't alone. Other Kiwi favourites like tangy fruits and sparkles were also cut around the same time amid broader portfolio streamlining by the company. There was no grand farewell, no campaign to preserve a legacy. One day they were on shelves, the next they weren't. Around the same period, Snifters disappeared, something bigger was happening behind the scenes. In 2007, Pascal/Cadbury announced closure of its long-running Pascal confectionery factory in Avondale, Auckland, with production fully winding down in 2009, ending more than 90 years of large-scale confectionery manufacturing on that site. Hundreds of jobs were lost, and production of many Pascal sweets was shifted offshore, primarily to Australia and other overseas facilities within Cadbury's global network. While Cadbury never linked the factory closure directly to the end of Snifters, the timing matters. Once production moved offshore, local only, lower volume products like Snifters became harder to justify in a globalized supply chain focused on scale, efficiency, and mass sellers. For many Kiwis, this marked the quiet end of an era, not just for one lolly, but for locally made confectionery as a whole. The story didn't end in 2009. In 2020, Pascal and Mondelez tried to respond to years of fan yearning by bringing back Snifters in a new form. Snifters Lumps, a hybrid candy that blends the mint flavour of Snifters with the chewy, chocolate-coated appeal of another Kiwi favourite, Pineapple Lumps, minus the pineapple. It was a creative nod to nostalgia and drew plenty of social media excitement. But while Snifters Lumps captured the spirit of the original, they weren't a perfect recreation. Some fans embraced the mashup, others felt it lacked the crisp contrast of mint, chocolate and shell that defined classic Snifters. Today, Snifters occupy a curious place in Kiwi cultural memory. Beloved, petitioned for return, and sometimes reinvented but never fully restored in their original form. They remind us that even simple treats carry memories. So what happened to Snifters? They didn't vanish because the world forgot them. They were discontinued because tastes and corporate priorities changed, but the passion for them never really left. Their story is one of quiet disappearance and loud memory, a reminder that ordinary things become extraordinary simply by being part of our lives. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and as always, stay curious.